for a deep, clean feeling that lasts. New Nivea Men Deep Antiperspirant. Nivea Men. It starts with you. Official sponsor of Real Madrid.
This is NTV.
Hello and welcome to the broadcast. It is the 12th of November. You're watching NTV Tonight at 9 o'clock. Thanks for your company. These are our top stories. Tonight.
Rise on your feet and join me in observing a minute of silence in honor of the memory of 1,289 Kenyans who have succumbed to this deadly disease.
As COVID-19 blazes a deadly trail, expensive treatments are burning holes in Kenya's pockets.
In the current circumstances of the continued upsurge of infections and hospitalization, payment of these claims may not be sustainable, and in the long run, and government support will be required in the coming days if this continues.
Also tonight, the president calls on the country to build consensus on the BBI.
Major changes are needed to our constitution and other laws so as to lay the foundation for the prosperous future that we seek.
But Catholic bishops are pointing out the structural cracks on the bridge.
Tuna haraka gani na nchi ni yetu? Does the country have the funds needed to carry out a referendum before 2022?
Taking cautious steps back to school. The 2021 school calendar for the rest of the learners is out in 2 weeks. And also tonight, from the health emergency, the country faces an economic emergency. But the president is painting a picture of resilience.
The number of companies registered daily has increased by 500%. From 30 in 2014 to 200.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi.
Joining us in sign language interpretation tonight is Flora Atieno. And before we get into the details of the President's State of the Nation address, let's first look at the state of the coronavirus pandemic. The country has lost another 23 lives to COVID-19. This brings the number of those who have succumbed to the virus to 1,203. The total number of infections is now up to 66,723 after 919 more people tested positive in the last 24 hours. The new cases are from a sample size of 6,135. 559 are male and 360, are female. On a positive note, 414 patients have recovered, and that brings the total number of recoveries to 444,040. Well, Nairobi still has the highest number of infections with 345, followed by Mombasa with 98, Nakuru with 76 and Kilifi with 74. And as COVID-19 leaves behind a devastating trail, Kenyans will have to foot the bill for COVID-19 tests and treatments out of pocket, as health insurers told Parliament it would be too expensive and unrealistic on their part. Well, this even as the President acknowledged the toll that the pandemic has taken on the country's mental health and elevated the Mathari Hospital to a teaching and referral facility for mental health care. Leila Mohammed takes a closer look at the state of healthcare.
I would like at this juncture to request all of you to rise on your feet and join me in observing a minute of silence.
A minute in honor of those who have lost the fight against COVID-19. The nation's tally now standing at a grim 1,203, with more than 70 people dying of COVID-19 in the last 3 days.
It is my plea to this House and to all Kenyans that we must not succumb to COVID fatigue.
In order to mitigate the effects and shocks that the pandemic has brought upon the nation, the President says
Kenya shilling 6 billion from the Universal Health Coverage Kitty was to be immediately appropriated strictly towards supporting counties.
With the launch of the biometric data collection for a nationwide rollout, the President affirmed his government's desire to bring quality and affordable healthcare closer to the people.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought to the fore the urgent need for us to upscale our implementation of the Universal Health Coverage pillar.
But those in the healthcare sector now say that covering COVID-19 related care will be an expensive venture, one they cannot sustain.
They are general exclusions, exempts the fund from undertakings in government coordinated responses, as is the case in epidemic and pandemic responses.
In the current circumstances of the continued upsurge of infections and hospitalization, payment of these claims may not be sustainable, and in the long run, and government support will be required in the coming days if this continues.
Go out and look out for tier 2 hospitals who would be willing to provide a manageable package for any COVID-related claim. And between June and August, early August, we were able to sign up 24 facilities or 24 hospitals.
The COVID-19 pandemic has also taken a heavy toll on the country's mental health. With a shrinking economy, job cuts and struggling businesses, many are finding it hard to get by. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, to another sector now, and the state of the nation's education is wanting thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. With children forced to stay home for almost a year now, the President is promising to ensure that learning for all resumes in January next year. But to achieve that, many challenges must be overcome, as Helen Aura now reports.
Are you ready?
A month since the phased reopening of schools, there is still no consensus on whether schools ought to reopen fully. Some have expressed unease with plans of resumption after cases of COVID-19 infections were reported. The President says a new academic calendar will be announced in 2 weeks.
The gradual and phased reopening of schools that began with the examination classes is being carefully monitored at all levels so as to ensure that our young Kenyans are safe and secure as they continue preparing for their national examinations.
And when schools reopen in January, the immediate challenge will be achieving social distancing, and the government estimates that at least 12,500 new classrooms and related facilities will be required.
The Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development have been instructed that by the 1st of December 2020 to issue a new set of building guidelines for school infrastructure that allows the use of appropriate and cost-effective building technologies suited to the varied geographies of our nation.
The government is ready now to spend 8.5 billion in the SEKIP program for improving infrastructure in education in both primary and secondary in 30 odd counties.
The President wants members of Parliament to prioritize provision of education infrastructure. He hailed the success of their 100% transition plan from primary to secondary school.
No child should be left behind, meaning that no child be denied their right to access education.
To date, 430,598 students have enrolled in technical and vocational institutions across the country. Helen Aura, NTV.
Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta says the journey to constitutional reforms is unstoppable. The president, in his 7th State of the Nation address to Parliament, insisted that the future of the country is pegged on the envisaged reforms, likening himself to Moses in the Bible, who saw the promised land from afar. NTV senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi with details of the political angle in the president's speech.
Minutes to 2:30 p.m. Thursday afternoon, President Uhuru Kenyatta arrived at Parliament, inspected a parade mounted in his honor, before proceeding to the chambers where MPs, just like millions of Kenyans, waited to hear from him. The speech touched on many issues, but many wanted to hear his views on issues around the BBI and the referendum. The president believes implementation of the BBI report is key to securing Kenya's future.
Like Moses in the Bible, who sat at the top of Mount Nebo and saw the future that the people of Israel were about to cross into the promised land, I too have seen our future. This, fellow Kenyans, is what our future looks like. A Kenya where no one will ascend to a high public office on account of their tribe. A Kenya where no capable person will wallow in poverty because of poor governance.
To the president, constitutional reforms are key, calling on Parliament to support these aspirations. Several reform bills are expected to be tabled in Parliament.
Major changes are needed to our constitution and other laws so as to lay the foundation for the prosperous future that we seek. As a people, we must seize this constitutional moment, as I have said, to ensure that we deliver to future generations of Kenyan the future that they deserve.
President Kenyatta also spoke about the political turmoil in neighboring countries and blames this on leaders who refuse to compromise.
Many neighboring countries today need a handshake. They need a politics in which competition is not turned into enmity and war. They need political leaders focused on including the young and desperate, not inciting them to revolt against their country and their elders.
The president did not comment on calls for a review of the BBI contents, but called on Kenyans to eschew politicians preaching disunity.
Leaders must reach out to each other and build bridges over turbulent waters to allow the people to cross into safety and prosperity.
The next phase of the BBI moves to Parliament, and today the president was full of praises of the two houses, calling on them to put aside their differences and work for the common good of the country. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV at Parliament Buildings in Nairobi, Kenya.
But even as the head of state rallied the country behind the unity drive, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops was pointing out some flaws in some aspects of the BBI proposals. The bishops are uncomfortable with the proposals on the expanded executive that could see the return of an imperial presidency and derail efforts to ensure a separation of powers. NTV's Bridget Ngana breaks down their concerns.
The Catholic Church now joins the choir of dissenting voices over some sections of the BBI report, which, in their view, threaten to tear the very fabric of unity that the report intended to mend.
We want to strongly remind all actors, including ourselves as bishops, that this process has serious implications for the future of this country. The constitutional, administrative, and policy recommendations in the document ought to be seen in the light of discernment.
The bishops have called for extreme caution in the legitimizing of an expanded presidency that would see an end to the existing separation of powers and give the president imperial powers. They have also taken issue with an expanded parliament, which they say would be a burden to taxpayers. The bishops are also of the view that politicizing the IEBC would taint the integrity of the election.
This is not about political competition. It is not about for or against, yes or no. It is not about 2022. It is, and it should be, about Kenya, about which way we want to take as Kenyans, not only for ourselves, but for posterity.
KCCB also feels the timing for the referendum is misinformed at a time when the country is reeling from the effects of COVID-19.
Does the country have the funds needed to carry out a referendum before 2022, 18 months before the general election, a process that also requires money?
The County Assembly's forum on its part wants more money is allocated for ward development. They also want all the perks that MPs get, including a mortgage, house allowance and car grants, in exchange for supporting the report once it's tabled at the county assemblies for approval prior to the referendum.
What is good for the goose is good for the gander. What a member of parliament is getting should come down to the member of the county assembly. If it is found that it is not tenable, then it should also be removed from the member of parliament.
The speakers of the 47 county assemblies were set for a conference at the Bomas of Kenya on Friday, but has since been cancelled by the state. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru.
Struggling national flag carrier Kenya Airways this afternoon received an unusual boost from the President during the State of the Nation address. 6 months after the National Aviation Management Bill seeking to renationalize the struggling carrier was tabled on the floor of the House, the President has urged the National Assembly to prioritize its endorsement. Alex Mwangi with more on this.
Despite spirited opposition from a number of stakeholders in the aviation industry, the National Aviation Management Bill of 2020, which seeks to reverse the 1996 privatization of Kenya Airways, has the backing of the head of state. This comes just 3 months after the airline's loss widened to 14.4 billion shillings in the 6 months ended June 2020.
I urge Parliament to prioritize the consideration of various seminal bills that are pending before the legislature, such as the National Aviation Management Bill, which once enacted will anchor the turnaround of the pride of Africa, our national carrier, Kenya Airways.
Statistics now attest to the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic has led many to step out of their comfort zones in a bid to derive income from new sources. Part of that has been informed by the massive job losses in both the formal and informal sectors.
The number of companies registered daily has increased by 500% from 30 in 2014 to 200 in 2020, and a daily average of 300 during the COVID-19 period. On aggregate, 400,000 companies are annually now registered in Kenya.
The President once again outlined the raft of measures instituted by his administration to tackle the pandemic. Crucially though, he did not reveal the outcome of some of the key actions that he ordered taken.
We did also instruct that all ministries were to pay approximately Kenya shillings 13 billion of verified pending bills so as to improve liquidity in the economy and ensure that businesses remained afloat by enhancing their cash flows. The Kenya Revenue Authority was directed to expedite the payment of all verified VAT refunds claims amounting to Kenya shillings 10 billion within 3 weeks.
The President indicated that there are currently 135 constituency innovation hubs across the country to drive the ICT agenda at the grassroots and give the youth expanded opportunities to thrive. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
It's just gone past 1:15 the hour. Time for a quick breather, but more when we return, so do stay tuned.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Fresh Fry Premium Cooking Oil now has a new look and an advanced spout and seal. Triple refined, zero cholesterol and natural vitamin E. Fresh Fry, always heart friendly. Now it's even more cooking friendly. Fresh Fry, the premium cooking oil for healthy living.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
So vile nasema, wacha nikubatie statistics. Niko na gamia 1500. Tunakuwa drapo gamia na kuwa 6000. 2000 natengeneza leather, natengeneza viatu, wallet, kibeti, nauza hapa, na batia wewe 50%. Wacha niweke credit nikupigie.
Namna gani wewe? Hii mambo ya kuishiwa na credit kila saa. Come on. Nunua hiyo simu ya Vodafone. Calling fiber to fiber is 0 shillings per minute and it is not expensive. Only 2,999 Kenya shillings.
Alo hali wa. Hata fadhali hiyo credit ikae ninunue simu basi.
Faibika leo na Vodafone for only 2,999 Kenya shillings. It will always be free to call fiber to fiber.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Why is it that there's always a sadist behind the camera when such incidents are recorded? Hebu sikieni hawa si walirekodi hiyo clip.
Cheki mwingine. Sijui alikuwa anajaribu kuepa lakini ni mnono.
Unajua hiyo kicheko ndio ilifanya mzee ashindwe kuamka. Mimi najua there is two ways of a politician ama parliamentarian kukeep job yake. One ni kukua poa sana na watu, ama hii miaka 5 yenye umepewa yako kamoja ukule proper. Si ndio?
Yeah.
Ni gani sure bet?
Get your value-added plot today by cash or through our installment plan. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and to some good news. Experts have noted a decline in the number of pneumonia cases this year between the months of March and June. Pneumonia is the single largest infectious cause of death in children worldwide, and it is estimated that it kills 1 child per hour in Kenya. But while these statistics look better, experts are, however, calling for more awareness about the illness that causes pain and suffering, as Ngina Kirori found out.
In 2018, Joyce Wangui suddenly started experiencing a dull pain in her chest. A week later, when she eventually sought medical advice, she was taken aback with the outcome.
At first I took it like just a cold, but the doctor diagnosed me to have pneumonia. The symptoms that I had at that time were I would get fever, I had a cough that was giving me chest pains, I got chills, I got fever, and generally feeling that kind of fatigue.
Joyce attributes her pneumonia to a specific lifestyle habit that could have caused and aggravated the situation.
I wasn't covering myself enough. I exposed myself to a lot of cold. I believe so.
So now that's changed?
That has changed. I really take care of myself. I don't want to go through that experience again.
Now, taking a deep breath in and out may seem like a simple task, but for those who have borne the brunt of pneumonia, it is an uphill task due to the symptoms that arise from it.
Pneumonia is an infection of the lungs caused by a virus, bacteria, or fungi. But according to medical experts, apart from a vaccine and wrapping up on cold days, pneumonia can be prevented through a few simple measures.
Improve the environmental sanitation and improve pollution in the atmosphere. That's one way of prevention. Even the use of masks and even hand hygiene possible. But currently, the rate of ordinary pneumonia is reduced because of these strict measures which we are imposing in the COVID prevention protocol.
Pneumonia has often been overlooked as a global agenda despite its alarming statistics. The illness is a leading cause of death in children under 5 years in Kenya. Ngina Kirori, NTV.
Well, that story as the world marks World Pneumonia Day today. Now, nurses and midwives in public health facilities have been urged to change their attitudes towards expectant mothers and treat them better in order to attract them to health facilities for deliveries. It turns out a number of women in Uasin Gishu often shy away from hospitals, preferring the services of traditional birth attendants, denting efforts to reduce maternal and child mortality rates. Gabriel Kudaka has more.
Inside this dimly lit room in a mudwood house in Kabenes village in Uasin Gishu County, a traditional birth attendant checks on the pulses of the unborn and the general well-being of the baby using this improvised stethoscope. Daktari Sarah Chemirmir, as she is fondly referred to by many, has been in this trade of bringing forth new lives for more than 50 years now.
Naweza kuja mpaka jioni hata saa 2 ya usiku. Watu nakuja tu. Hata saa ngine hata guli mpaka saa 10. Alafu nakula. Tashauri hao wateja.
And clients are fond of her.
Ndio sasa nakuja ni check kila mwezi. Na nikiendelea hivi naona tu ndajifungulia hapa.
Tukikujanga hapa tunaona ni better off than referral.
It is this population that flocks to Dr. Sarah Chemirmir and other traditional midwives that contributes to the low number of expectant women turning up for maternal health care services in public health facilities. So just why are women shying off from visiting health facilities?
This is what we want to inculcate into our midwives, that they treat these mothers with dignity, respect, they give them privacy and informed consent for the services that they are going to receive.
Everything in one slide, but this is just...
To reverse the trend, health experts from Moi University, in collaboration with the county government of Uasin Gishu and NEPAD, organized a training for over 20 midwives and nurses to help change the tide.
If you look at our last Kenya Democratic Health Survey, it's very clear that close to 43% of Kenyans have unsafe delivery.
The gains made with free maternal services, such as reduction in maternal and child mortality rates, now risk being reversed. The health experts have called for the strengthening of the relationship between the traditional birth attendants and conventional ones in order to tap from each other's expertise. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
All right, from that, I'll be back in just a moment with the business news. But first, have a look at the sort of pets that this 27-year-old Palestinian man has on his rooftop in the southern Gaza Strip. Coming up on your screens, it is 2 lion cubs that are just 2 months old. Well, Nassim says that they were separated from their mother 8 days ago and they eat chicken from the butchery. Nassim says that the rooftop is wide with an area of 180 square meters, and he says it's big enough for the cubs and he'll figure out what to do when they grow into larger lions.
Wa Kenya, hii fight hatukuchagua, lakini tuko na choice. Tuchague kujilinda, tuchague kuprotect familia zetu, tuchague usafi, kuosha mikono, kuosha manyumba zetu, ndio tulinde watoto wetu, na tuvae mask. Future yetu iko mikononi mwetu. Kenya, let's do it for the ones we love.
How much?
Hii ni so.
Hii ni 20 bob na hii ni so, na zote ni the same size.
While other networks discriminate, sisi hatubagui, tuna serve everybody. Get to Bonge 10 and enjoy 100 minutes Airtel to Airtel. Dial *544#. Not just for a few, but for every one of you. Airtel, the honest network.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Fun and food got together beautifully at GMC Place. Enjoy our succulent meals in a serene setting with a varied choice of fun games for the little ones. Cup it up with a cuppa or a cocktail, all available to your taste. Discover the joy of a warm pool by diving into the Blue Oasis heated pool. Or at GMC Place, the fun never ends. Make your reservation today on 0701 560 560.
Babangu anafanya kazi ya watchman na mamangu kwa saizi ana kazi. Kwa mimi na sisters zangu wawili, Faith na Mercy. Nilikuwa class 7 na mimi nilikuanga top 3 kwa hiyo class. Sasa mimi nilikuwa nasikia tunaambiwa ati wewe uta-apply wings to fly. Sasa sikuwa najua ni nini. Organization ya through Equity, Mastercard na KFW inasaidia the vulnerable people in the society waweze kupata education na waweze kupata mentoring. After tena 1 week hivi, hao wanafunzi wengi wenye wali-apply, si ndio tumechaguliwa kupata hiyo scholarship. Kajua mimi ni student wa hasa wa Chavakali Boys High School. Miezi 2 zikapita, nikaanza kusikia rumors ati kuna corona. Principal akatuambia tunafaa turudi nyumbani. Equity walipigia babangu simu kuchukua kit fulani. Akapewa hiyo torch, solar, radio na hiyo timetable. Tulisikia vizuri sana juu ilikuwa inaweza hata kusaidia masita zangu wote. Juu pia kulikuwa na lessons za klasi yao hapo. Wakatuelezea watakuwa wanatuma stipend kununua chakula, sanitizers. Juu hatukuwa na kitu completely. Hatukuwa na hope, kumbe kuna watu wanatujali. Hata kama tuko nyumbani, sasa tunasoma basi.
Answer's here! Yes! Wow, what a nice gift. I would definitely give this next time.
Cousins Baby Gift Pack, a carefully selected range of safe baby products with natural goodness, trusted for decades by millions of moms across Africa. Cousins Baby, the gift that keeps on giving.
Pigia mafundi wako, tunahitaji kaa 40.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Mogaka, nimeitishwa mafundi 40. Kuna kazi imetokea na itabidi nimewapigia wote kuwajulisha. Ofa gani mzuri leo?
Ngoja wari yake. Hata mimi anataka kupost marashi yangu Instagram. Ni gani mzuri leo?
Very good. Leo Safaricom wanasherehekea miaka 20 na wewe. Piga *444*20. Tumia shilingi 20 pekee utunukiwe 20 minutes na 20 MB.
Hebu bahari yake.
On your mark, get set.
All right, time for some business news now. And Kenya's exports of avocados in 2020 have surpassed the volume of exports realized in 2019, well before the end of the year, pointing to a robust performance for the crop, which has lifted the performance of the horticulture industry. Alex Mwangi reports.
When it comes to avocados, Kenya's export volumes have grown in 2020 after fully withstanding the storm of COVID-19, which disrupted international supply chains.
And in 2019, we were able to export 59,000 tons of avocado, valued at 10.6 billion, while in 2020, up to the end of October, we have been able to export 68,000 tons of avocado, valued at 14 billion.
Kenya is ranked 8th in the world in avocado production, and with the conducive environment it has for the crop to thrive, investments in avocado farming could see the country rise further up the ranking.
The equatorial climate allows us to produce avocado nearly throughout the year. Our season begins in February and ends in October. And this year, starting tomorrow, we will close the avocado export season until February 2021. But some of the avocado trees grown in certain agroecological zones, which will be mature, will still be exported after being inspected by the Horticulture Crops Directorate.
The horticulture industry has had mixed fortunes this year, owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. Take the decision by France to go into a second lockdown that has seen flowers considered as non-essential items on the shelves of French supermarkets or even at their floral vendors.
That is something that we deal with on a daily basis. We have strong ties and networks between ourselves, France, and all the EU countries. We have been able to then be able to work around about it because it's a decision that a country makes. And when a country makes a decision, we are not able to influence that decision.
The horticulture sector is poised for further growth post-COVID-19.
We project currently to be increasing our production of horticulture up to about 10% annually.
Stakeholders of the industry defended the country against claims of failure to curb the use of harmful chemicals in the production of key cash crops for export.
Volumes within the African continent.
Alex Mwangi, NTV.
Well, that's a bit of good news. Kenyans, we love avocados. KCB Group's net earnings stood at 10.9 billion shillings in the period ended September 2020, a 43% plunge from the same period back in 2019. In the period under review, the group took a significant hit from the COVID-19 pandemic, with its pile of non-performing loans surging from 42.6 billion shillings to 97 billion shillings, surging by an unprecedented 128%. As a result of the deterioration of the asset quality, the group is aggressively creating a buffer with the loan loss provision, closing September 2020 at 20 billion shillings, up from just 5.8 billion shillings in the same period in 2019. The bank is inching closer towards $1 trillion shillings in asset base, with its total assets now valued at 972 billion shillings.
Non-funded income lines, and that's primarily because of two main reasons. One, you do recall that the regulator waived fees for transactions below 1,000 shillings. So, you know, that has had a massive impact on our performance on service and commissions. And secondly, the FX income line, with the lockdowns globally, the economic activity was subdued.
Equity Group has reported 14.8 billion shillings in net earnings for the period ended September 2020, a 14.4% decline compared to the same period in 2020. The bank's, or rather last year, the bank's pile of bad debt closed the third quarter of the year at 51.8 billion shillings, having risen from 30.5 billion shillings in 2019. This points to the impact the adverse business environment is having on the group's business. Equity Group's interest income in the period under review grew by 7 billion shillings, closing the period under review at 39.3 billion shillings. All right, time for another breather. Stay with us. I'll be back with some more news.
Pigia mafundi wako, tunahitaji kaa 40.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Mogaka, nimetishwa mafundi 40. Kuna kazi imetokea na itabidi nimewapigia wote kuwajulisha. Ofa gani mzuri leo?
Ngoja wariake, hata mimi anataka kupost marashi yangu Instagram. Ni gani mzuri leo?
Very good. Leo Safaricom wanasherehekea miaka 20 na wewe. Piga star 444 star 20 tumia shilingi 20 pekee utunukiwe 20 minutes na 20 MB.
Leo bahali yake.
On your mark, get set.
We all are looking for products to protect ourselves from viruses, but not all products protect us. Did you know that using Dettol soap and water protects against viruses? Many viruses are surrounded by an envelope with receptors that enable them to enter a human cell and cause infection. Dettol soap destroys the outer layer of the virus and effectively removes it. Protect your family from the spread of viruses with Dettol. Dettol cleans and is now tested and proven to be effective against COVID-19 virus. This has been Medifax for Dettol.
Are you thinking of bringing light into your house? Think of Sumo Candle. Why Sumo Candle? It is non-drip, doesn't smell and has no smoke. It's giving you money value by burning for a long time, and it is also brighter. Any day, anytime, Sumo Candle is the best for you. Purchase Sumo Candle from the nearest shop at a pocket-friendly price. Always smile and walk with Sumo Candle from Rock Industries Limited. For inquiries, visit our offices at Ndume Road off Lungalunga Road, behind Carton Manufacturers near Sinai Stage. You can also talk to us through 0722 575 619 or 0736 028 181.
Jiko Koa, Kenya's highest saving, longest lasting and biggest Jiko, cooks fast using half the charcoal compared to other Jikos, so you use less fuel and receive extra savings. Enjoy our great discounts and save an extra 500 Kenya shillings when you buy Jiko Koa at your nearest shopping outlet.
Ah, Helen Paul.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I've been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic's thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces and wash white clothes, towels and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Fun and food got together beautifully at GMC Place. Enjoy our succulent meals in a serene setting with a varied choice of fun games for the little ones. Cup it up with a cuppa or a cocktail, all available to your taste. Discover the joy of a warm pool by diving into the Blue Oasis heated pool. Or at GMC Place, the fun never ends. Make your reservation today on 0701 560 560.
Parenting is all about learning when to be tough and when to be gentle. Tough, gentle. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Tough call. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Ghana's former leader Jerry Rawlings, who towered over the West African nation for 2 decades, first as a military ruler and then as elected president, has died aged 73. President Uhuru Kenyatta is among leaders who have eulogized Rawlings as one who played a key role in steering Ghana to a free and just society.
Ghanaians are mourning the death of their former leader, Jerry Rawlings. Local media reports indicate that he succumbed to COVID-19 complications. He is in the Ghana's history books for overthrowing governments twice through coups in 1979 and in 1981. The first taste of power came in 1979 when he and other junior officers, frustrated over widespread corruption, organized a coup attempt in May which failed, was put on trial and sentenced to death. But before he could be executed, his co-plotters helped oust the then military leader Frederick Akufo. Rawlings ruled Ghana for 20 years and is credited with restoring political stability in Ghana after the series of coups. Till his death, he remained a high-profile figure in Ghanaian politics. President Uhuru Kenyatta joined other leaders in mourning the late president. He eulogized him as a statesman and a true Pan-Africanist.
All right, well, may he rest in peace. At this point, we're taking a break and the sports news is next, but get this. In a rare find, scientists have identified a new species of primate, the Popa langur, living in the forests of central Myanmar with a mask-like face, framed by a shock of unruly grey hair. But with only 200 to 250 left in the wild today, experts will recommend that the leaf-eating species be classified as critically endangered.